Hi friends, how's it going? I'm talking to you on my first ever Facebook Live today because after all your support when I launched my course this week, The 5 Elements for True Health and Success, I had a lot of questions, and thanks for getting me to do something that I've been totally terrified of, which is coming live on Facebook and answer your questions and tell you why in the world I want to talk about the 5 elements, or why in the world you might want to learn more about them. So basically, the 5 elements are this incredible paradigm that you can learn all about relationships. And not just relationships to someone you love or your friends, but really to the relationship you have with your body and your mind and yourself. And so the foundation of this belief comes from Chinese medicine and specifically from Taoism. And I bring up Taoism because that's really a philosophy that believes that you know what's right for you and I know what's right for me. And so even though we use it in medicine to decide what you need and tell you as an acupuncturist, I have found so much strength, and I found out so much about myself by using this as a paradigm to understand my own quirks, my strengths, my weaknesses, and, for example, the things that I'm afraid of. So I am afraid of being online and having a camera in my face out to the world, but I also really love Chinese medicine and the 5 elements, and that is like my inspiration. It's like where I have all these insights and ideas all the time, and I want to share these ideas with the world and with my clients. If you're one of my clients, you know we talk about this every session. So my heart fire element is really full of joy and enthusiasm and inspiration. But fire element can get put out by water. Water puts out fire. And too much water element, which happens to encompass fear, can totally squash your joy, right? So I was having this interesting relationship to the fire element, where some of my water qualities, my fear, which can also be wisdom, some things are worth being afraid of. You don't want to jump off a cliff if you can't land safely. So we have to have a little bit of fear, and it can be healthy. And we often have fear when we're going to do something that we're really passionate about. But the point is that by understanding that relationship, I could think about the 5 elements and I could say, well, what supports fire? What supports fire is wood. Obviously, wood makes fire, even in nature. And some things that I can do to generate that creativity and that strategy and planning and the ideas behind the wood energy is I can, hug a tree is what I did. I can also do yoga because the wood energy really likes to move around and be strong and flexible. And so I did have a great yoga session earlier. And then I hugged a tree. And then while I was having tea, I found myself really enjoying this wooden bench I was sitting on at an amazing cafe, beloved cafe in the Mission. But I was sitting there just laughing about how attached to this wood energy I was to keep my fire alive. And so there's so much more to say there. Wood is also imagining it and having a vision. And wood supports fire. It's like that creativity that supports what gives you joy. And then the fire element allows you to, manifest things and have time for self-care and really nurture yourself, and also be a mother and take care of those around you. And that's the earth energy. And the metal energy is full of inspiration and sometimes has some grief with it. There's lightness and dark within each element. And the water element that I just mentioned, it's not just fear, it's also wisdom. And there's so much faith and potential. And these are just a few examples of basically the creative cycle that the 5 elements can represent, but it really represents all phases and cycles. Cycles in nature, cycles in life, like the life cycle, and creating a project. And it talks about relationships, relationships to, as I said, your friends, and relationships to your environment and your job and your place in life. And it also talks about your relationship with yourself. And I think for me, that's been, the most liberating part of the whole 20 years of studying all this stuff, is just that I really know myself better, and I recognize my tendencies, and I have a roadmap now to not prevent myself from moving forward, to nudge me towards what I really want to do. And I guess that's part I get all emotional about, is because at the end of the day, anxiety and depression are often an indicator that we need to listen to our heart's desire or create a strategy and a plan. And in my own life, I have used this philosophy to help me work on those things. And I think that it can also really identify why you might have neck and shoulder tension when you're trying to carry the weight of the whole world on your shoulders. And that's the physical stuff that the 5 element theory can help you understand. And I just mentioned the emotional, and the spiritual is, again, just really a lot about understanding and creating a relationship with yourself. Imagine a woman in love with herself and then go be it. And that means loving all the weird stuff, loving all the fear, and just, doing the best you can. So this is all a beautiful story, and it's poetry, and it's magic. And it's kind of deep, and it's also just about having fun with it all, because you're never going to get it right or be perfect, but you can start to recognize your strengths and weaknesses and just, laugh at it all. And we can do it in a group. In my course that's coming up. It starts next week. It's 6 weeks long, and it's called The 5 Elements for True Health and Success. And I am going to throw a PDF in the comments that will be a little chart more about the 5 elements. I guess I'm going to work on some of my own showing up, try to make that a strength. I don't know. I'm going to show up tomorrow and talk to you guys about the wood element. And we'll talk a little bit about each element and some remedies you can do in your life to help you, find harmony and just humor and enjoyment and get the things you really want. So maybe comment if you have some questions, or like this, or share this, or ask me questions for tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll talk about the wood element, which has to do with anger and creativity and the incredible relationship between the two of those. And I think that's all. Thank you all so much. I appreciate you being here and getting me here. Woohoo! Summer of love. Okay, thanks. Thanks, guys. Oh, hey, you can find out more about my course at my website, naturallyjess.com. That's naturallyjess with 1 S. And there is a page on there called Course. And yeah, naturallyjess.com. You can find out more about the 5 elements. I will figure out how to put a link in the comments to a PDF that I made. And I'm going to come back tomorrow and talk about the wood element. So you can find me there, or you can text me or private message me. But thank you. Oh, nice to see you guys. Thank you all for joining. I love you all.